Hello everyone, I'm Vikram P. Maduri here. Welcome to Softech, and in this session, let's discuss some of the most important FICO interview question and answers. So before getting into this concept, let me tell you that each one of you would be going ahead and for the interview preparation, whether you are a fresher or you have an experience, no matter how much experience you have, it's mandatory for us to go ahead and go through the most important interview questions before attending the interview. I'd also recommend you to suggest this video for your friends as well. It might help them as well to get a break. Okay, let's start with the question and answers now. Explain the term SAP FICO. As we all know, SAP stands for Systems, Applications in Products and Data Processing, and FICO stands for Financial Accounting and Controlling. So these two are actually different modules which normally are combined and expressed as a single word, FICO. So in SAP FICO, FI takes care of the accounting, preparation of financial statements, tax computations, etc., while CO takes care of inter-orders, cost sheet, inventory sheet, cost allocations, etc. It is the software that stores data and also computes them and retrieves the result based on the current marketing scenario. So the SAP FICO prevents data lost and also does the verification and reporting of data. So what are the other modules to which financial accounting is integrated? Financial accounting is closely integrated with sales and distribution, material management, human resources, production planning, controlling of financial transactions, and extra. So you can also technically the module that gets related with SAP FICO is ABAP, and the administration part is SAP Basis. So what is SAP FI? What are the organizational elements in the SAP FI system? So the organizational elements are company code, business area, chart of accounts, and functional area. So explain what is a posting key and what does it control. So in order to determine the transaction type which is entered in the line type, a 2-digit numerical is used known as posting key. So posting key determines accounting types, types of postings, debit or credit, and field status of transaction. So what is the company code in SAP? To generate financial statements like profit and loss statement, balance sheet, etc., company code is used. How many chart of accounts can company code have? You can have one chart of account for one company code which is assigned. So you cannot assign two chart of accounts to in single company code. So if there is one company code, it can be associated with only single chart of accounts, but one chart of accounts can be associated with multiple company codes. For company code, how many currencies can be configured? So there are 3 currencies that can be configured for a company code. One is a local currency and 2 other parallel currencies. What are the options in fiscal year? SAP for fiscal years. So fiscal year is in SAP is the way financial data is stored in the system. In SAP you have 12 periods and 4 special periods. These periods are stored in fiscal year variant, that is calendar year from January to December, and April to March is the fiscal year. Year dependent fiscal year. Year dependent fiscal year happens to be January to December. But if it's a specific, other than January to December, we can have any kind of a fiscal year configuration. As for example, for India, we configure it from April to March. And what are these 4 special posting periods? Let's say if our financial year starts in April and ends in March. After March, the coming next fiscal year's 4 months is referred to as a special posting periods. There can be maximum of 4 special posting periods, and within that we can do the adjustments for the previous year. What is a year shift in SAP calendar? So this is a very important question. SAP system does not know what is broken fiscal year. For example, April 2012 to March 2013, and only understand the calendar year. If for any business the fiscal year is not a calendar year, but the combination of different months of 2 different calendar years. In that case, it's a combination of 2 different years, different months of 2 different calendar years, and then one of the calendar year has to be classified as a fiscal year for SAP, and the month falling in another year has to be adjusted into a fiscal year by shifting the year by using the -1 symbol or +1. So most of the times, if we are referring to 2019, and if let's say we are in 2019 but you want to refer to the 2018 fiscal year, so we are going to have this as +1. So we need to do the adjustments for the first 3 months in the Indian calendar fiscal year perspective. So here we do the adjustments based on the fiscal year and the year shift. So I repeat, what I'm trying to tell you here is that if let's say if our calendar year is from January to December, now our fiscal year starts in April. So the January, February, March of this year happens to be a part of the last year's fiscal year, then it has to be -1. So this fiscal year shift is very important, which we need to explain in the interview very clearly. And this is a very basic concept actually. So I'm taking another example here. So April 2012 to December 2012 is our first calendar year, and the second calendar year is January 2013 to March 2013 is our second calendar year. So now if you are taking April 2012 to December 2012 as your fiscal year, then January 2013 and March 2013 automatically becomes a second year, and you have to adjust this year by using -1 shift, and vice versa. If the scenario is reversed here, you will use the +1 shift. So what is the year dependent fiscal year variant? In a year dependent fiscal year variant, the number of days in a month is not as per the calendar months. For example, in year 2005, month January ends on 29th, month February ends on 26th. So in SAP, how input and output taxes are taken care? For each country, tax procedure is defined and tax codes are defined within this. So there is a flexibility to either expense out the tax amounts or capitalize the same to stocks. So explain what is validation and substitution in SAP. For each functional area in SAP, validation or substitution is defined, example, assets, controlling, etc. at the following levels: document level and the line item level. What are the application areas that use validation and substitutions? So we have financial accounting, cost accounting, asset accounting, special purpose ledger, consolidation, project systems, real estate, and profit center accounting. These are the application areas. In SAP, what is the use of financial statement version? Financial statement version is a reporting tool. It can be used to extract financial accounting from SAP, like profit and loss account and balance sheet. The multiple financial statement versions can be used for generating the output of various external agencies like banks and other statutory authorities. So what is a field status group? Field status group controls the fields which come up when the user does the transactions. In FIGL, Financial General Ledger Master, the field status group is 2. What is FI, Financial General Ledger Accounting Test? Now, what the Financial General Ledger does is, it takes care of the external accounting and accounts, and accounting is used in it does a recording of all the business transactions incorporated with all other operational areas in a software system, and also ensures that the accounting data is always complete and accurate. What is the default exchange rate type which is picked up for all SAP transactions? For all SAP transactions, the default exchange rate is M, average rate. What are the methods by which vendor invoice payments can be made? We can do manual payment without the use of any output medium like checks, etc. Automatic payments like DME, data medium exchange, checks, wire transfer, etc. What are the problems when business area is configured? The problem faced when a business area is configured is splitting of accounting balance, which is more pertinent in the case of tax accounts. For document clearing, what are the customizing prerequisites? The customizing prerequisite for document clearing is to check the items cleared and uncleared, and this is done by open item management. Open item management manages your outstanding accounts, account payable and account receivable. For instance, an invoice item that has not yet been paid is recorded as an open account until it is paid. What is the importance of goods received and invoice received clearing account? So GRIR, goods received or invoice received, is an interim account in the legacy system. If the goods are received and the invoice is not received, the provision is made in SAP at the goods receipt. So it passes the accounting entry, debiting the inventory and crediting the GRIR account. Similarly, when an invoice is received, the vendor account is credited and the goods receipt or invoice receipt account is debited. The goods receipt or invoice receipt will show as an uncleared item till the time the invoice is not received. What is parallel and local currency in SAP? Each company can have two additional currencies other than the local currency in addition to the company code currency entered to the company code data. The currency entered in the company code creation is called local currency, and the other two additional currencies are called parallel currencies. Parallel currencies can be used in foreign business transactions in order to do international transactions. Parallel currency can be used in the two parallel currencies would be a group currency and hard currencies. For example, if let's say our company is situated in India and we do a lot of business with say United Kingdom and USA, so we configure those two foreign currencies as parallel currencies wherein you refer everything in US dollars or UK pounds. So where can you use internal order? So to track the cost, internal orders are used. They are proposed to be incurred over on a short-term basis. Is it possible to calculate depreciation to the day? Yes, it is possible to calculate the depreciation. To do that, you have to switch on the indicator department to the day in the depreciation key configuration. So in asset accounting, what is the organizational assignment? In asset accounting, chart of depreciation is rated as the highest node, and this is assigned to the company node. All the depreciation calculations are stored under the chart of depreciation. What is the importance of asset classes? What asset classes are there? So the asset class is the main class to classify assets. Every asset must be assigned to only one asset class. Example of asset class is furnitures and fixtures, plant and machinery, computers, etc. The asset class also contains G1 account when any asset is procured. So G1 account is debited. Whenever you create an asset master, it becomes mandatory to mention the asset class for which you are creating the required assets. So whenever any asset transaction occurs, the G1 account attached to the asset class is automatically picked up and the entry is passed. You can also specify the default values for calculating the depreciation values and other master data in each asset class. So how capital, work in process and asset accounted for in SAP? So capital work in process is referred to as assets under construction in SAP and is represented under specific asset class. Depreciation is not charged under capital work in process usually. The cost incurred on building a capital asset can be booked to an internal order and through the settlement procedures and can be posted onto an asset under construction. What are the major components of chart of accounts? The major components of chart of accounts are chart of account key, name, maintain language, the language in which we do the transactions, length of the GL account number, what should be the maximum length of a GL account number. For example, if you give the maximum length of GL account number as 6, you cannot maintain a GL account number more than 6. Controlling integration, consolidation group chart of accounts, and block indicator. What is the credit control area in SAP? To immune your company from the risk of bad debts and multiple outstanding receivables, you can set a credit limit for your customer by using credit control area in SAP. With the help of SAP, you can block the deliveries to your customer based on the credit limit and the accounts receivable balance in their account, which is maintained by you. How can you create credit control area in SAP? So by using the transaction code OB45, or you can also use a path to create the credit control area. The path would be go to SPRO transaction, enterprise structure, maintain structures, definition, financial accounting, maintain credit control area, and then enter the following description. So you need to give the update name of the credit control area in the SAP, currency, description, credit limit, risk category, fiscal variant, and the representative group. What is posting period variant? In fiscal year, posting periods is a period for which the transaction figures are updated. The posting period variance in SAP is accountable to control which accounting period is open for posting and ensures that the closed periods remain balanced. Explain the simple terms which is field status and what does it control. Field status group is a group configured in the field status variant to maintain the field status for general ledger accounts. It controls which field should be suppressed, which field should be displayed, which field should be made as optional for entry, or which field have to be made as mandatory to be entered. So if you make a field as mandatory, you cannot move further until and unless you enter something into that particular field. So what is shortened fiscal year? A shortened fiscal year results when you change from a normal fiscal year to a non-calendar fiscal year, or other way around. Is this type of change happens when an enterprise becomes part of a cooperative group. What is an account group and where it is used? To control the data that needs to be entered at the time of the creation of a master record, an account group is used. So account group exists for the definition of GL account, customer, master, and vendor. What is the purpose of document type in SAP? The purpose of document type in SAP is to maintain the number range for documents defined by it, types of accounts that can be posted or controlled by it, for example assets, vendors, customers, normal GL accounts, etc. It is used for the reversal of entries as well. Is business area at company code level? No. Business area is at the client level, which means other company codes can also be posted to the same business area. So in SAP, customer and vendor code are stored at what level? The vendor and customer codes are stored at the client level. It means that by extending the company code view, any company code can use the customer and vendor code. How are tolerances for invoice verification defined? Tolerances determines whether the payable places matching or tax hold on the invoice. The following are the instances of tolerance can be defined for logistic invoice verification. Small difference, moving average price variances, quantity variances, and price variances. What is the country chart of accounts? Country chart of accounts contains GL, general ledger accounts needed to meet the country's legal requirements. What is automatic payment program in SAP FICO? Automatic payment program stands for APP. It is a tool provided by SAP to companies to pay its vendors and customers. The account payable automatic payment program tool helps to avoid any mistakes taken place in posting manually. Also, when number of employees is more than the company, payment through automatic payment program becomes more feasible. In SAP FICO, what are the terms of payment and where are they stored? So payment terms are created in the configuration and determine the payment due date for vendor customer invoice. They are stored on the customer or vendor master record and are pulled through onto the customer vendor invoice posting. The due date can be changed on each individual invoice if required. What are one-time vendors? In certain companies, especially the one dealing with high cash transactions, it is not practical to create new master records for every vendor trading partner. One-time vendors allows a dummy vendor code to be used on invoice entry, and also information which is usually stored in the vendor master. For example, if there is there's a company who actually sells chartered planes, and these chartered planes have been sold to different business people or business tycoons. So let's say if one business tycoon is purchasing a jet flight, it may not be possible that he'll be purchasing it on every daily basis. So the one who actually purchases the jet flight is actually the customer. If let's say there is a one-time vendor supply, for example, if our company is purchasing a jet flight, and this jet flight is been purchased by the company for its for its basic travel or for goods carrying or something like that, then this will not be done on a daily basis. So there is a one-time vendor. So one-time vendor is someone who supplies the material and goes away. He's not supplying us the material or services on a daily basis. So we create it as a one-time vendor. So what are the standard stages of SAP payment run? So there are different steps. I'm going to cover again the payment run steps in a different session. So the following steps are the standard stages of the SAP payment run. Entering of parameters, the vendor account details, company codes, payment methods, and etc. And proposal scheduling, the system proposes the list of invoice paid. Payment booking, the booking of the actual payments in the ledger. And printing of payment forms, example the checks. In accounts receivable, what is the difference between the residual payment and part payment methods of allocating cash? So the residual payment and the part payment are the two methods for allocating partial methods for customers. For example, an invoice for $100 is generated. Customer has paid $70. Now this $70 will be offset and leaving the remaining balance of $30. With residual payment, the invoice is cleared for the full value of $100 and a new invoice is generated for the remaining balances of $30. So what is dunning in SAP? Dunning is a process of reminding the customers of the payment. So it's like payment chasing letters are issued to customers. So SAP can determine which customer should receive the letter and for which overdue items. Different letters can be printed in the SAP depending on the overdue payment rate. With a simple reminder, with the help of dunning level and on the customer master, we can know which letter has been issued to the customer. So what is the purpose of the account type field in the GL General Ledger Master Record? At the end of the year, profit and loss accounts are cleared down to the retained earnings balance sheet account. The field contains an indicator which is linked to a specific general ledger account to be used in this clear down. Now explain what is recurring entries and why are they used. So recurring entries can eliminate the need for the manual posting of accounting documents which do not change from month to month. For example, an expense document can be generated which can be scheduled for the last days of each month for whenever an individual wants it. Usually multiple recurring entries are created at one go and they're processed all together as a batch month and using a transaction. So what is a value field in the COPA module? So value fields are number or value related fields in profitability analysis such as quantity, sales revenue, and discount values, etc. What are the statistical internal orders? Statistical internal orders are dummy cost objects used for reporting and analysis purpose. It must be reported to in conjunction with a real object such as a cost center. For what purpose internal orders can be used? You can use internal orders for overhead orders, in monitors, internal orders, internal jobs settled to cost centers. Investment orders, it monitors internal jobs settled to fixed assets. Accrual orders, offsetting posting of accrued costs calculated in CO. Orders with revenue, it displays the cost controlling parts of sales and distribution. It does not affect the core business of the company. There are a few more questions that are important from the interview perspective. So what is a company code and what are the basic organizational assignments to a company code? So company code is a legal entity for which financial statements like profit and loss and balance sheets are generated. Plans are assigned to the company code, purchasing organization is assigned to the company code, and sales organization is also assigned to the company code. What is the relation between a controlling area and a company code? So a controlling area can have the two type of relations with the company codes: a single company code relation and cross company code relations. So this means that one single controlling area can be assigned to several different company codes. A controlling can have a 1:1 relationship or a 1:many relationships with different company codes. The controlling area is the umbrella under which all controlling activities of cost center accounting, product costing, profit center, and profitability analysis are being stored. In a similar way, company codes is the umbrella for financial activities as well. How many chart of accounts can be assigned to a company code? So there will be always a single company code. A company code can be assigned only a single chart of accounts. So what are the options in SAP when it comes to a fiscal year? So fiscal year is nothing but the way financial data is stored in the system. So SAP provides you with a combination of 12 normal periods and also 4 special periods, which we already discussed. Okay. So how does posting happen in material management during special periods? So there is no posting which happens from the material management in special periods. Special periods are only applicable for the FI module. They are required for making any additional postings such as closing entries, provisions which happen during quarter end or year end. So there are some adjustments that needs to be made after the year end closure. So this can be done only by the financial accounting department, not the material department. So how many currencies can be configured? We already know that 3 currencies. So one basic and 2 parallel currencies. So do you require to configure the additional ledger for parallel currencies? Where only 2 currencies are configured. So there can be only 2 configures that two currencies that can be configured parallelly to the basic local currency. Okay, so this is another question. If there are 2 company codes with a different chart of accounts, how can you consolidate their activities? So in this case, you either need to write an ABAP program or you need to implement a special consolidation module of SAP. So if both the company codes use the same chart of accounts, then standard SAP reports give you the consolidated figure. So give some examples of GL account that should be posted automatically through the system, and how is this defined in the system. So stock and consumption accounts are instances of GL accounts that should be automatically posted. In GL account master record, a checkbox exists wherein the automatic posting option is selected, called the post automatically only. What is an account group and where is it used? An account group controls the data that needs to be entered at the time of certain creation of a master record. Account groups exist for the definition of a GL account, vendor, and customer master. It basically controls the fields which pop up during master data creation in SAP. So what is a field status group? So field status group controls the fields which come up when the user does the transaction. There are 3 options of the field. They are display only, suppressed, and mandatory, which we already discussed. So what is the purpose of a document type in SAP? Document type is specified at the header level during the transaction entry and serves the following purpose. It defines the number range for the documents. It controls the type of account that can be posted to example, the assets or vendor, customer, or normal GL account. Document type to be used for reversal of entries. Whether it can be used only for batch input session, document type is, for example, the document type is created for differentiating business transactions. For example, vendor invoice, credit memo, accrual entries, customer invoice. So it is a 2-digit character. What is a financial statement version? So financial statement version is a reporting tool and can be used to depict the manner in which the financial accounting is profit and loss. Account and balance sheet needs to be extracted from SAP. It is freely and disabled, definable, and multiple financial statement versions can be defined for generating the output for various external agencies like banks and other statutory authorities. So how are input and output taxes taken care in the SAP? So a tax procedure is defined for each country and the tax are defined within this. There is a flexibility to either expense out the tax amounts or capitalize the same to the stocks. So what are the validations and substitutions? So validation substitutions in SAP are defined for each functional area, FIGL, asserts, controlling, etc. for the following levels, so document level and line item level. These needs to be specifically activated and setting them up for a complex and done only when it is really needed. Often help of the technical team is required in this. So is it possible to maintain plant-wise different GL accounts? Yes, we can maintain the plant-wise GL accounts. An account code should be maintained per valuation group code after doing this configuration. So is business area at the company code level? No, the business area is at the client level. What are the different scenarios under which a business area or a profit center may be defined? So this question is usually disputable. So, but both business areas and profit centers are created for internal reporting. Each has its own pros and cons, but many companies nowadays go for profit center as there is a feeling that business or enhancements would not be supported by SAP in the future. So there are typical month-end procedures which need to be executed for both of them, and many times reconciliation might become a big issue. So a typical challenge in both of them is in cases where you do not know the business area or profit center of the transaction at the time of posting. So what are the problems faced in when a business area is configured? The problem of splitting of account balance is more pertinent in the case of tax accounts. Is it possible to default certain values for particular fields in the for example the company code? Yes, it is possible to default values for certain fields where a parameter ID is present. So we need to go to input field to which you want to make defaults. Press F1 and then click technical info push button, and this would open up a window and that displays the corresponding parameter ID. You can just make a note of this step and then you can try it out in the system, then it will be more clear for you. So if one has been allocated to the field, then in the field data selection, enter this parameter ID using the following path as SAP Easy Access screen. Go to the user profile and own data, and there you can enter this. So click on parameter ID, enter the parameter ID code, and then enter the value you want as a default and save the user settings. And once you want it to be reflected, you have to just log out, close the SAP access completely, and then log in back again. These changes that you have done in the above steps will be reflected. So which is the default exchange rate type which is picked up for all SAP transactions? So it's a type M. These are already been covered. So how many numbers of line items in one single entry you can have? So in one single entry there can be 999 lines. It's 999. How do you maintain the number range in the production environment? Do you directly create it in the production box, or do you have to do it to transportation? Number ranges needs to be created in the production client directly. You can transport it also by way of request, but creating in the production client is more advisable. So we always create them directly in the production client. In customizing company code, productive means what? So what does it denote? Once the company code is live, the real-time transactions have started. This checkbox helps prevent deletion of many programs accidentally. This checkbox is not activated just before go live. What is done by GR, the goods receipt and invoice receipt regrouping program? So the balance in a goods receipt or invoice receipt account is basically because of two main types of transactions: goods delivered but invoice not received, and invoice received but goods not received. So in this case, the regrouping of the program needs to be done. What are the functionalities available in the financial statement version? So in the financial statement version, the most important functionality available is the debit credit shift. This is more important in the case of many overdraft accounts which can have a debit balance or a credit balance. Thus, in the case of a debit balance, you would require the overdraft account to be shown on the asset side. In case of credit balance, you would require the account to be shown on the liability side. Is it possible to print the financial statement version on a SAP script form? Yes, it is possible to print the financial statement version on a SAP script form. How do you configure the SAP script form in the financial statement version? So for this, it is possible to generate a form from the financial statement version and print the financial statement on the SAP script form. In the customizing for financial statement version, select the FSV. You create and choose go to generate from a 1 column to a 2 column form, and you can also copy form from the standard system. Is it possible to generate a financial statement form automatically? Yes, it is possible to generate a form automatically. Is it possible to keep the FI posting period only for certain GL codes? Yes, it is possible to keep open the FI posting period only for certain GL codes. How do you keep the FI posting period only for certain GL codes? So in transaction code OB52, click on new entries and maintain an interval or a single GL code for the account type S with the posting period variant. So if the GL codes are not in the sequence, then you need to maintain further entries for the posting period variant and account type S. Can posting period variant be assigned to more than one company code? Yes, posting periods can be assigned for multiple company codes. So yeah, these are the steps to configure the automatic payment program, which I'm going to explain you in the coming next session. Where do you attach the check payment program? It is attached to the payment method per company code. What are the payment terms per customer master maintained? Payment terms per customer master can be maintained at two places, that is in the accounting view and the sales view of the vendor master record. Thanks for watching this video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do not forget to subscribe to our channel youtube.com/Softech, and do click on the like button if you really like it, and if you want to give us some suggestions, do write it in the comment box, and we'd read each and every comment and try to create stuff which is more useful for you. Okay, thank you, have a great day.